Hello, I'm Jono Freeman. An authorship story. When William Shakespeare died in 1616, it was strangely not an event. No one seemed interested in the man we associate the place with by name. Nobody travelled to Stratford to pay their last respects. There were no lamenting poems, no eulogies, no national tears. 1664 arrived.
It's 100 years after the birth of England's greatest writer.
And
Yeah!
no one noticed.
Huh?
And again, no one is on record of travelling to Stratford-upon-Avon to learn what could be learned. More years passed. Then, slowly, there was a reawakening to the brilliance contained in Shakespeare's works. But by then, nothing could be found to demonstrate that there had ever been a great author in the town of Stratford.
Apparently no one thought to protect or preserve anything.
But once these seekers, these pilgrims, these worshippers of Shakespeare started coming to Stratford, they didn't stop. And they kept asking, wanting, demanding.
What was the little town to do? There was money to be made here. But unless something exciting was found or invented, soon word would spread that nothing remained here of our once great poet.
There happened to be, in the back of Shakespeare's former house, a beautiful old mulberry tree. The tree was over 100 years old.
It must have been put in the ground around the time when Shakespeare lived in the house. Hand-planted by the great man himself.
The last memorial of immortal Shakespeare.
And now, every visitor was pointed to the tree.
It worked!
It worked?
Unfortunately, the owner of Shakespeare's former property and of the mulberry tree was a reverend by the name of
Francis Gastrell. It's likely he detested theatre. Was initially tolerant of the souvenir hunters, but as time went on, twigs, leaves, and branches broken off, his lawn and garden damaged.
One night, without warning, the good reverend
Went out the back and chopped down the tree. Ah!
Next day, citizens rioted, shattering all the windows in Shakespeare's former home.
The reverend was forced to flee the town.
Story should have ended there. But businessman, carpenter and clockmaker
Thomas Sharp acquired the tree and started carving wood Shakespeare mementos to sell out of his store, which he renamed the Mulberry Shop. Fantasy restored.
visitors could now buy
Authentic Shakespeare mulberry relics.
this tree. Possessed extraordinary powers of self-multiplication. And not long after, authentic Shakespeare walnut carvings were also on sale. Shakespeare was no longer an actor, a theatre manager, or even a mythical playwright and poet.
Shakespeare had become divine, and Stratford-upon-Avon was his shrine.
In this atmosphere, once Stratford had become a literary sanctuary, the first questions of authorship were raised. But who would listen? Certainly not those who had bought expensive mulberry or walnut Shakespeare carvings.